whip topping failed. No worries. We'll use it to make this instead. Hi there. Today I'm going to be doing some experiments with Aquafaba. If you don't know what that is, it's okay. It's kind of a big thing in the vegan world and the vegetarian, well, not the vegan world, because it can be used as a replacer for eggs in a lot of recipes. It can be used as a replacement for whipped cream. There's lots of different uses for it. And I'm not a vegan, but I wanted to do some experiments with it. I used to be a vegan a long time ago. And I've got 3 different kinds. I've got some made out of chickpeas, and these has the cooking water from the, these are great white northern beans, and this is adzuki beans. So Aquafaba is just the cooking water when you've actually cooked your beans, and then you let them sit in that water for 24 hours or 12 hours, so whatever, however long. It absorbs the proteins from the beans, and then when you drain it, you get this liquid that can be used for a multi-purposes. And I wanted to try 3 different varieties. I think I'll even do lentils, but I don't have any cooked yet. I'll just get that ready. So I'm going to drain these beans, and then I'm going to freeze the Aquafaba in ice cube trays, just so I can save it and use it for later. You can just put it in the fridge and it'll be good for about a week, but I don't know if I'll get to it by then. So I'm going to drain these and freeze the Aquafaba, and we'll get back to you later. So experiment number 1, and this is with the adzuki bean Aquafaba. And remember, Aquafaba is the cooking liquid from the beans. It's not the soaking liquid, so when you cook your beans, you soak them first if you can, or at least rinse, and discard that water, and then you cook them. And the water that you cook your beans with, you save it afterwards, let the beans sit in the water for a while, like overnight or so, and then you strain it and you've got the Aquafaba. So this Aquafaba is from adzuki beans. I'm going to try whipping it up into a whip topping, but you'll notice it's a very dark color, so I'm going to add some cocoa to it to make it look nicer, or at least taste nicer, to go along with that visual cue. I've got 1/3 of a cup here. I'm going to add 1/8 of a teaspoon of cream of tartar, so that goes in. And then I'm just going to, I'm going to add a little pinch of salt. This is Redmond sea salt, because salt always gives everything a little bit more flavor and enjoyability factor. We will be adding some sweetener later, but for right now I'm just going to whip this for a long time. I'll let you know how it goes. Hi, Alana here. Did you know that I wrote a cookbook? It's available on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description below. It's called Delicious, Cheap, Healthy, Whole Grains, Beans and Lentils, Staples for Budget-Friendly Meals. In it you'll find recipes for breakfast, lunch, dinner, desserts, and staples, and they're all made from healthy, delicious whole grains and beans and lentils. You can't get any better than that. Okay, back to the video. Okay, it has now been 5 minutes beating with this hand mixer. And believe me, you do not want to beat this by hand. And it is holding its shape a little bit, but we're going to have to go quite a bit longer, I think. Okay, I just beat it for 7 minutes. Now it's holding its shape really well. I think I can start doing my add-ins. I just added about 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla. And then we're going to, I think, put in a tablespoon of cocoa. See how that goes. And I'll beat that up, see what how it's going. Oh no! It went all liquid again after the cocoa was added. Okay, I'm going to add a tablespoon of olive oil. Years ago when I was a teenager, I used to make a whip topping by whipping condensed milk, and I think you added what's it called, the dried milk powder as well, and then you added a little bit of oil, and that made a whip topping. So I'm going to try that. Just add some oil and see if that oil might get emulsified and help hold the air pockets as I whip. I'll let you know. Oh boy, most definitely a liquid that did not work. Okay, next thing I'm going to try is adding some, I have freeze-dried milk powder from my goats. So I'm going to try adding that, see what that does. Okay, that is definitely not working. I'm going to taste it though, see what it tastes like. You can pretty much just taste the cocoa. It doesn't taste like beans. So I think now I will use this. Maybe I'll try a chocolate cake, because the Aquafaba can replace eggs and it can replace oil. I have eggs. I have lots of eggs for my chickens, so I think I'll still add an egg, but I'll cut down on the oil, or maybe put no oil in at all. We'll see what happens. This is the fun of experimenting in the kitchen. You gotta laugh off the failures. Sometimes the failures hurt, but this one was a low entry point for failure, so I'm okay with that. But I'll let you know how the next little thing turns out. So I'm going to be making, out of this failed experiment of Aquafaba, I'm going to be making some lentil brownies, since actually I'm going to be using adzuki beans. So 1/3 of a cup of adzuki beans, cooked. And in here I already have a tablespoon of date powder. It's a date sugar. I'm trying to not use any sugar, white sugar, brown sugar, that types for my food. And just so you know, this is from my cookbook. I'll put a link in the description below. You can get it on Amazon. And I'll also put the recipe in the description below, or in one of the comments. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so now I'm going to be using one egg. It calls for 2 eggs, but I'm going to use 1 egg because the Aquafaba will be substituted for one of the eggs. And in here I've also got some of my homemade stevia extract. That's what this dark color in here. And then got an egg, and then I've got a couple tablespoons of honey. So all those sweeteners are to replace 3/4 of a cup of sugar. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully that's enough. Then I've got 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt and 1/3 of a cup of rye flour. My 1/3 cup measure is dirty, so I'm using a 1/4 cup measure and then half a 1/4 cup measure for 1/3 of a cup. It's about roughly what it's supposed to be. And then it calls for 1/3 of a cup of cocoa, but I've already got a tablespoon in here, so I'm just gonna add this. That is our Aquafaba that I tried to make into a cocoa flavored fluff whip topping, and that didn't work, so put that in there. And then we'll add another 1/4 cup of cocoa, and that should be close enough to 1/3 cup. Okay. Then I've got more vanilla to add. It calls for half a teaspoon of vanilla. That's about right. It's the end of my vanilla. Gonna have to... My mom always gets me Watkins, which I like. And I also make my own vanilla out of vodka and vanilla beans. but I don't have it handy right now, so I'm just wanting to fish that off. Okay, and it also calls for half a cup of melted fat, but we're just going to see if that Aquafaba does the job, because as you can see, I'm well fed. I'm trying to lighten the load, shall we say. So we're just not going to add any fat and see how it goes. Alright, I'm going to blend this up smooth. Here's my blender. And then it'll go into, alright, you know what? I am going to add 1 tablespoon of fat. Instead of half a cup, you know, it's not going to hurt me. There, some olive oil to do the job. And then you could put in half a cup of chopped nuts or other things, but I'm just going to leave it as is. Although I think I am going to add another tablespoon of date powder. And my date powder sat for quite a while, and it kind of took on some moisture from the air, so I have to break it up. It's in clumps instead of a date powder. But that's okay. The blender will take care of that. If you didn't have a blender, you would mash your beans by hand, and you would, if you've got hard date powder like this, you would soak it in water for a while to make a date paste and use that instead. And then you just kind of take a guess of how much water was in that paste and decrease your liquid by that amount. But as you can see, oh, you know what? So my liquid was about 1/3 of a cup. Well, I'll blend it up and see if it needs any more liquid. We'll see. Okay, it's all blended up. So you can see that, and it looks like a pretty good consistency. I'm gonna go with that. Oh, I'm using the wrong thing. I could have used a smaller pan because this is going to be rather thin, but that just means it'll cook faster, right? Alright, and I believe in tasting things before they go in the oven, because that way I know if I need more sugar or stuff. I did already taste it, but this is yummy. Oh, just got stuck on my face. Okay, so that goes in the oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 20 to 25 minutes. I'm gonna guess, actually I think I'm gonna put this in for 15 minutes because it's so narrow, flat, it's not very thick, so it'll cook faster. I'll be back soon. And we're back with the finished brownies, and like I thought, yeah, they're very thin. See if you can see that, there. Yeah. So yes, they should have been in a deeper pan, like maybe a loaf pan. That would have shrunk the width and make them double the height. And then, so these I cooked for 15 minutes at 350 Fahrenheit. So if you had used a smaller pan and they were thicker, you probably would have gone for 20 minutes or so. But they're perfect. They taste great. So there you go. I don't like brownies made out of 100% beans, but if I split it, you know, half wheat, half beans, that works for me. And using the Aquafaba for the eggs and the oil, yeah, worked out well. All right, enjoy your kitchen experiments, and if you like this and you'd like to support me, please like, subscribe, comment, ring the notification bell, and yeah, have fun in the kitchen. Even an Aquafaba fail can turn into a success. So Have a great day. We'll talk to you later.